Hey, Trixie from Don't Trust the Rabbit uploaded a new video today. Ja und? Das ist mir sowas von Banane. Hey Rabbits, it's Trixie and today I would like to talk about the many ways of saying I don't care in German. I was so surprised myself of how many there were and how ridiculous they sound. So feel free to join me on today's journey and learn how to not care in German. Like every other language as well, German has many standard expressions of how to say I don't really care. You can, for example, say das interessiert mich nicht, which would be I'm not interested in that, or das kümmert mich nicht, or das schert mich nicht, which is something like that doesn't bother me. Another classic that is quite characteristic for the German language is das ist mir egal. Something like that doesn't matter, but you cannot really translate it literally into English. It's like meh. Whatever, it's irrelevant to me. Something similar would be das ist mir gleich or das ist mir gleichgültig, which is like it's all the same to me. However, I would say that egal is the key word when it comes to not caring in German. We simply love this word and we use it all the time and even combine it with other words to make it more powerful. For instance, instead of just saying das ist mir egal, you could say das ist mir scheißegal or das ist mir schied-egal, depending on the region that you come from. So it's not only whatever, but something like what the shit ever. That being said, let's now move on to the really freaky expressions that Germans have for saying I don't care. For example, what about the glorious phrase das ist mir Wurst or Wurst? That is sausage to me.
Oh, looks like Germans like to talk about sausages, huh? Even when they don't care?
I found two theories potentially explaining why this expression exists. One of them is that you cannot really tell where a sausage starts and where it ends because the two ends look the same. So this expression could be translated to this topic is as senseless as discussing about where a sausage starts and ends. The second theory is that butchers use all the meat that doesn't have any other purpose for sausages, so they're basically a waste product. Such is the information that you just gave me because I don't care at all. Next up, das ist mir Schnuppe. Many people think that the Schnuppe in das ist mir Schnuppe derives from Sternschnuppe, which is a shooting star, but that's not quite accurate. The word Schnuppe used in this phrase is actually an old German word for candle wick. And since the burnt part of a candle wick is of no use anymore, you can say das ist mir Schnuppe. This is as useless as a burnt candle wick. The next way of saying I don't care is region related, so it may be that you don't know it even though you are German. It's das ist mir Wumpe. I didn't find any trustworthy explanations on how this expression came to existence, but it may be related to the German word die Wampe, which is a chubby belly. Let's continue with das ist mir Latte. This is wooden plank to me. Again, I didn't find any reliable sources of why we use this expression, but I can just imagine that a wooden plank is something kinda dull and plain, so we tend to use it for stuff that is just useless information that we don't need. Now here's one of my absolute favorites. Das ist mir Banane. This is banana to me. I found very different explanations for this one. Some say it's related to the English expression someone is bananas, so that's like a crazy information. Others say it derives from a Turkish adjective, and the funniest explanation I found is that this is the vegetarian version of das ist mir Wurst, because these people don't want to say this is sausage to me, they say this is banana to me, because it has like pretty much the same shape, but it's not meat. The following expression might be the most ridiculous sounding. It's das ist mir Schnurz. Even I cannot even say this without smiling. Das ist mir Schnurz. Maybe some of my German viewers know Habe Kerkeling, so I'll throw a quick Hurz in here. Unsurprisingly, I didn't find a good explanation of why we use Schnurz. It doesn't seem to mean anything. It's most likely just a fun fantasy German word. Another word that you can use in this das ist mir blah blah fashion is das ist mir Piepe. Again, there are many discussions about where this comes from, and the most reasonable explanation I found is that it's related to da pfeif ich drauf, which we will talk about later. As if these words were not hilarious enough for themselves, you can also combine them to have the ultimate I don't care statement freak show. Das ist mir piepegal. Das ist mir wirklich Schnurzpiepe. Das ist doch Schnurzpiepegal. What you can also say is das ist mir Lachs. The funny part about this is that many German people get this a bit wrong saying das ist mir Lachs, which then means this is salmon to me. But even though this would be very funny, I have to disappoint you. It's not the salmon, the fish, that is referred to in this expression. It's the Latin word lax, which means sloppy or slack. But besides all of these das ist mir something phrases, there are many other ways of saying I don't care. For instance, another fancy expression would be Jacke wie Hose, jacket like trousers. Jacket like trousers? Well, from the 17th century on, it became a trend to make jackets and trousers out of the same kind of fabric, so this expression became a thing. What next? What about gehüpft wie gesprungen? Hopped like jumped. You know?
Boing, 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 boing.
This comes from hopping and jumping basically being the same thing. So the difference between these two is pretty much irrelevant, such as the information that you just gave me. Next up is another classic if you like it in the rude fashion. You can say, das geht mir am Arsch vorbei. As you may have guessed, this means this just passes by my ass, it doesn't bother me at all. Don't ask me why I started speaking in a British English accent when I talk about asses. Anyway, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. The information is so irrelevant and useless, it doesn't even touch my ass. Another two funny expressions would be das juckt mich nicht or das kratzt mich nicht, which would be that doesn't itch me or that doesn't scratch me. It most likely derives from an old German proverb kind of thing saying, what does it itch the oak tree if the sow rubs itself on it? So this expression kind of means it does neither itch or scratch me where you rub yourself on, or something like that. The next two phrases are related to the ears. You can, for example, say, das geht zum einen Ohr rein und zum anderen wieder raus. This enters one ear and falls out directly on the other side, meaning that you couldn't care less about the information you just received, so it doesn't even touch your brain. Or another one of my favorites, da stelle ich meine Ohren auf Durchzug. I put my ears into cross-ventilation mode, meaning that the information just flows through without bothering the brain at all. The next three expressions are basically threats of what you are going to do with the information you have just received. In German, you could say, da pfeif ich drauf. I whistle or pipe on that. Again, without a trustworthy explanation of this statement's existence. The best theory I found is that this refers to the piping sound that you make after a lousy statement.
Hey, Trixie, what kind of porn star name is that? Your channel sucks.
And yeah, I like this explanation. Another phrase of the same fashion would be da hust ich drauf. I cough onto that. It's very derogative. A cough is the only thing that I will give to this stupid statement. Here, you useless piece of information, take all my germs and fly away. And last but not least, da scheiß ich drauf, I shit on that, which is again pretty much self-explanatory. This information is so useless that I only feel like taking a crap on it. Ready for the last three expressions? What about das kümmert mich einen feuchten Dreck or das kümmert mich einen feuchten Kehricht? Instead of kümmern, you can also use scheren or interessieren, but I think what you're more interested in is the Kehricht and Dreck part, right? These two phrases translate to something like that's nothing but wet dirt or wet sweepings to me. This information is dirt, shit, waste. Just go away with it. And lastly, another one that I really like, das interessiert mich nicht, die Bohne. Literally meaning that doesn't interest me, the bean. The explanation is that since the 13th century, the bean is a symbol of something unimportant. So the information you just gave me is as unimportant as a bean. Alright, Rabbits, I really hope that you had fun with today's video because it was a lot of fun for me researching on this topic because I was surprised myself of how many expressions we have for saying I don't care. Huh, what does that tell you about the Germans? What do you think of all these expressions? Which one is your favorite? Do you know others that I didn't include in my list? Please let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested in your comments. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up because that would make me really happy even though the video was about not caring. This is definitely something I do care about. If you want to watch another video of Don't Trust the Rabbit, you can find one right here. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, or even support my channel on Patreon because this makes all of this, possible, and I'm really happy about all the help I'm getting, and this really keeps me motivating on working on my videos. I'm improving them all the time, so thank you a lot for your support. Now I wish you all a very beautiful day. Check out my other videos if you'd like to, and hopefully we're gonna see each other in my next video. Bye! The explanation is that from the 13th century,